Welcome to Gacha Pencil, my name is Edric and this is part 2 of my colouring tutorial. I will be showing you how to use the glazing method in this video. It is a slower method, but it also gives you more control over the colours. I use this method for most of my illustrations, but if you're doing concept art professionally and need to throw out colours very quickly, you might want to watch part 1 of the colouring tutorial to learn how to use the gradient maps method. It is always a good idea to know both methods, as you will switch methods depending on what your end goal is. I use Clip Studio Paint for my artworks, but the same methods can also be used if you are using Photoshop. All digital painting softwares kind of use the same concepts, so the skills you learn will definitely translate to any other softwares. Oh yes, make sure to watch to the end, as I will also share with you some bonus techniques that you can use to make your artworks even nicer. I will be showing you how to colour this portrait that is still in grayscale using the glazing method. You will want to make sure that all your layers are separated and in order with the line art at the top. So I am going to start by colouring the face layer first. You want to duplicate the layer and make sure that the alpha is turned on. The alpha is the icon that looks like it's a checkerboard. So I'm going to show you what happens when the alpha is turned on. As you can see, I am not able to paint out of the area that is already painted. But if I turn it off, I will be able to paint out of the area. So with the alpha turned on, I am going to paint the duplicated face layer with a flat basic skin tone first. And then choose a layer mode from the drop down as shown here. So there are only a few modes you can use from this long list of options. The first one is multiply. Multiply makes the colours look a little darker, and in my opinion would also make the painting feel a little bit like printed artwork. And then there is overlay, and as you can see, overlay makes the artwork look a little brighter. But if you choose a darker shade, the colour will also adjust accordingly. And then finally, there is colour from the drop down menu, which simply changes the colour but not the value. You will want to play around with these 3 layer modes and find the one that suits your artwork the best. There isn't one right option, only the one you like the most. So if I change the layer mode back to normal, you can see the colour that is actually being used on top of the grayscale layer. I am going to choose a nice orange for the base of the skin and paint it over to start. And then I like to use a soft brush and choose a pink colour towards the warm side of the colour wheel and start painting the sides of the face and other areas which I feel would look nice having a little warmth to them, such as the nose and the lips. With this method, I am also able to paint the colours of her makeup around her eyes. So for her colour palette, I am thinking of giving her a nice orange hair. So I am now colouring her eyes orange. I want to also add a little red to her neck. And as you can see, I changed the layer mode back to normal in order to use the ink dropper tool. I want to blend the colours at the neck the way I want it before changing the layer back to colour. Lastly, for the face, I use white to colour the teeth and the whites of the eyes. Now that the face is coloured, I am going to proceed to colour the hair. Remember to always make sure that your alpha is turned on. For her hair, I chose a bright yellow as the base. And then with a soft brush, I slide the color wheel towards the warm side to choose an orange tone to color the darker areas of the hair. Lastly, I like to add a cooler tone to the brighter areas by choosing a color slightly towards the cool side of the color wheel and very lightly painting it in, making sure not to overdo it. For her outfit, we are going to use the same method. And this time I am choosing to use a teal cyan color as the base. Here you can see me designing and choosing a color combination that I think looks nice. Always play around with the color, guys. Also, you can always turn the layer back to normal to clean up the edges with different colors. I find that this helps me see the sections a little better without the grayscale shading. To finish it off, I feel like a little purple shade would make the colors a little prettier. Okay, so let's compare the two methods side by side. I think both these methods are good and they both serve slightly different purposes. The gradient maps method is faster and the glazing method gives you more control. Okay, so as promised, this is the bonus section of the video. At this point, I feel the artwork is already nice as it is, but there are still things that you can do to make the artwork even nicer and more finished. I like to use the hue and saturation tool under the tonal correction tab to adjust and play around with the colors I have, just to see if I can find a color that I like even more. So I am going to proceed to adjust all the color layers that I have. I find this part of the process to be the most fun. It feels like you are creating a character in a video game. After that, I create a new layer on top of all the other layers and I add highlights to the eyes, nose and lips. As you can see, the artwork immediately pops. And then I would merge all the layers below the line art layer, leaving you with just the highlight, line art and color layer. Now, the reason for this is because I want to adjust the color balance of all the colors together. So in the color balance menu, you will see that you can choose to adjust the halftone, the shadows, and the highlights. So if I move the slider, you can see that the color changes everything together. Like how I did before, I shall proceed to play around with the sliders like I am creating a video game character until I am happy with the results. Now another thing you can do is to again use the tone curve tool and play around with the curve. I am going crazy with the curve here to show you what the tool can actually do. I think depending on what you want to achieve and how much you have played with the curves, you might be able to find some crazy results. But I am not going to do that. I am just going to make some subtle changes. Subtle changes can make very powerful differences in your art. The last tip I can give you to make your artwork even nicer is to up your line art game. The digital black is not very natural to the eyes, so if you just tune it down very slightly to a very dark grey, it would make the lines look more natural. And then you can duplicate this line art layer and make it blur using the Gaussian blur tool under the filters menu. So it looks very harsh now. What you want to do is to turn the opacity down to half or a little less than that. Just make it subtle. Remember, subtle changes make powerful differences. It is now basically done. I am going to add a simple background to it and lay out the different methods. I hope you learned something from this lesson, and if you find it useful in any ways, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. So do you use the same methods that I do? Or do you have a different technique that you use? Let me know in the comments below so we can all learn to be better artists.